Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I am very pleased to see a very cheap budget gaming mouse with a decent sensor and tons of RGB. This is the MARVO G961 S1 SunSpot. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're taking a look at the MARVO G961 gaming mouse. This is an extremely cost-effective gaming mouse. I do love a cost-effective gaming mouse. I want to say cheap, but I think saying cheap would actually go against it. It isn't a cheap mouse, it's just a good priced quality mouse and is good for gaming. I know that because I've been gaming on it and it works very, very well. It doesn't cost a lot of money, so yeah, you get gaming and also you get a little bit of change left in your wallet, which is always a good sign. So let's go through, take a look at the packaging, we'll take a look at the mouse itself, go through some of the RGB features, some of the extra quality features of it, and I'll come back at the end and give you my final thoughts. But you can probably guess already, I'm pretty impressed with this one. So looking at the packaging, first of all, as you can see, so this is from MARVO, part of their Scorpion range, and this is actually from the MARVO Pro range, which is a slightly upgraded version. Although they are cost-effective products, they do have a kind of like a baseline range and also their professional range. You can also see the keyboard, which we reviewed, which you can check out up here, both of which really good products. Anyway, looking at the box, so yeah, RGB honeycomb design, as you can see, very lightweight. So this is coming in at 75 grams, which is particularly light, mostly in thanks to that honeycomb design, and also comes with a very lightweight snag-free cable, which is always good to see. On the back of the packaging, we've got some more information about the buttons, the DPI selector and all that kind of stuff. I'll give you a close-up of the box now so you can see what the information is like in more detail. So what do we actually get in the package? Well, actually, we don't get a lot, which is always a good sign. So we get the mouse itself, which we'll take a look at in more detail. There is also a G961 installation guide, and it is pretty much straightforward. If you want to use software with it, you can do. There is software available from the MARVO website, which we'll take a little look at later. And basically, other than that, it's just literally plug in a USB cable into your PC and you're off to the races. Now, if you want to change things like the DPI, very easy to do. We'll go through the buttons now. So we've got a DPI button on the top, just a single button, which makes things a little bit easier in some respects. And it's got actually 8 built-in DPI settings straight out of the gate, which actually is really good. It goes anything from 200 DPI up to a whopping 1200 DPI, and just a simple click of the button cycles through those. So you can also change those in the software as well. Button-wise, we've got Huanu buttons, and we've also got a Pixart 3327 sensor, which is actually a pretty decent grade sensor and is used in quite a lot of these kind of entry-level gaming mice. Tracking appears to be extremely good, and we've got a lift-off distance of 2.4 millimeters. The buttons themselves are rated for 20 million clicks, and they do sound pretty nice. There's a very, very small amount of pre-travel, not a great deal. It doesn't feel loose or anything, just a very light bit of pre-tension needed to activate the switches and buttons. The mouse wheel in the middle, really nice, and I like this because it's actually slightly raised, more so than you get on other mice. Also on the top there is a rubber grippy wheel, which also is pretty good. The indentations are definitely noticeable and quite notchy, but not to the point of where it's actually difficult to rotate the wheel, which I personally prefer. Looking on the side of the mouse, so we've got our traditional additional buttons, so that is your back and forward button in internet browsers, etc. All the buttons, again, you can configure these actually in the software, so if you want to change those to something else, you can do either media functions or to triple click, that kind of thing. You can set that in the software, which possibly is on the screen for you right now. The mouse itself is actually designed and is probably useful for those with slightly smaller hands. For me personally, I've got quite chunky fingers, but smallish hands, and actually it fits my grip particularly well. And I've got to be honest with you, you know that I've tested a lot of mice over the years, and actually this is one of the ones which I do seriously consider being my daily driver, which I don't often say. Quite often I'll use a mouse for a little bit, not always get on with it, and kind of I swap out all the time, but this one actually does feel particularly comfortable. And even though it's been in use, you can see from the footage there, I haven't cleaned this or done anything to it prior to filming, and it still looks, well, looks pretty much like brand new. As you can see from the design of the mouse, so this is a honeycomb design. Again, this is why it's partially so lightweight. And underneath the honeycomb is a diffuser shield, so the RGB lighting will shine through nicely. Although there are no visible RGB elements, it just looks really nicely diffused. We'll see that a little bit later on. On the bottom of the mouse, you've got the sensor slap bang in the middle, and also you've got some glide pads. You've got one at the front there, 2 at the back, and also a centralized one around the sensor itself. And also on the bottom it does tell you about those DPI levels, where it goes through from 400, 800, 1600, 2400, 3200, 7000, 9000 and 12,000. Again, all of those can be configured in the software, so if you want one slightly higher or slightly lower, you can do that. They do jump in increments of 100 DPI. On the other side of the mouse, no additional buttons on there, which some people will be fine with. Personally, I do prefer to have a mouse with additional buttons on the side, but again, that's down to the individual. I think at this sort of price, which I haven't actually told you what the price of this is at the moment. If you look at on amazon.co.uk today, which is the day of recording, which is the Wednesday the 10th of November, these are currently available for £17.99 to Prime members, which I think for less than £20 is an amazing price for a mouse of this quality and with this amount of features. And talking of the features, another nice feature is the actual cable that it comes with. So there's a really nice cable on there, nice cord. It's slightly weighted, so it kind of drops down and it doesn't really want to snag on anything. It's just a really nice, almost like a power cord on there. So yeah, it feels really good and shouldn't snag on any surfaces. When you're using it on the surface, it does move around quite easily and quite smoothly, thanks mostly down to those PTFE feet on the bottom. So first of all, as you can see out of the box, this is what it comes in, the kind of the normal flavor. So this is what they call color streaming. There are 7 or 8 different options, including things like static colors. There is a color fade, which is kind of like the Aurora Sync type thing. And also you can choose your own individual colors in either static, flashing, all those kinds of usual things. Again, you've probably seen some of this from B-roll, which we filmed a little bit earlier on today. As I said a little bit earlier, you can see the RGB effects are very nicely diffused and only on a very acute angle. If you're actually looking down through the mouse wheel on the front, you can almost make out a couple of LEDs in there, but essentially pretty much all of it is really nicely diffused and cycles through the colors really well. And actually is pretty uniform as well. The lighting does appear to be pretty much the same strength all round, which is actually quite a difficult thing to do for a diffused type mouse. So yeah, points for that. Another nice point of actually having this diffuser actually on the internal side of it is if you're one of those people very much like myself, where you end up probably eating, drinking and doing all sorts at your desk whilst you go about your daily business, you're not going to get any bits accidentally fall inside the mouse because the diffuser is going to prevent that. So if you do drop anything in there, some biscuit crumbs or some crisps, that kind of stuff, just tip it upside down and you should be able to shake those out. So it should keep itself pretty clean. Actually keeping it clean from things like sweat and stuff like that off your fingers, that might be a little bit more challenging. You might need to get a vacuum with one of those bristle attachments out to try and vacuum that out. But otherwise I think it's going to be pretty good long run. The plastics themselves are actually pretty strong, and even giving it a particularly hard press, doesn't seem to want to creak very much. There's a little bit in some areas, but overall I think it's actually built particularly well, and it's certainly much better constructed than my current Corsair M55 RGB. So overall, to wrap things up, my impressions of this mouse are actually very good. For less than £20, there are a lot of mice on the market, especially some of those cheaper Chinese brands, which we see on AliExpress and Alibaba, that kind of thing. But to actually get something on places like your local high street stores or on amazon.co.uk and places like eBay or Scan, etc. here in the UK, I think it's actually a really good shout. And if you're building a PC up, a new gaming PC, maybe for Christmas or for the holiday season, that kind of thing, putting together a nice little bundle from MARVO products is going to be pretty easy to do, and it isn't going to cost you an absolute fortune. And from what I can tell at the moment, they do appear to be pretty well made. So let me know what you think about this one in the comments section below. But in the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.